Hey, everybody, it is Lorelia. Welcome for joining me this evening. Tonight, we are going to talk about how to structure your real estate deal, leveraging six figures in funding. And so tonight, I'm really going to focus primarily on the funding aspect of getting to leverage funding to invest in real estate. And so right about now, currently in the market, depending on when you're watching this video, it's now 2023 and we are in the month of September, and in a few months, we will be into 2024. And so I thought this would be a very good topic because if you remember, if this is something that you want to do, you may remember that back in 2023, the beginning of the year, some of you all who are watching this video made the declaration to yourself that you were going to leverage funding to invest in real estate. That seems to be the hot topic nowadays on the internet, on the podcast, doing live streams or what have you. But there's still a group of people who have not been able to obtain that. They are still chasing their tails in a puzzle mode when it comes to leveraging funding and investing in real estate. What I've noticed, and I've been talking about this topic of leveraging funding for real estate since 2018. If you're watching on YouTube, you will see the receipts in my past videos on this topic. So rest assured, I'm not new to this topic. I didn't decide during COVID to start talking about it. So I always want to give some type of frame of reference when it comes to funding, because a lot of people in the marketplace really don't know how to help people really obtain what it is that they're looking to do when it comes to funding. And that leads me to tonight's topic. So let's jump into it. So you are interested in six figures in funding and you want to be able to invest in real estate. Well, I'm going to talk about three things. And these three things are going to give you the clarity and the insight of what it is that you really want to do. And understand, if you're not familiar with me, one thing that I don't do is I never talk from a place of being very salacious. I don't want to lure you into thinking that in order for you to obtain something, there is not going to be a risk. And many people who are still trying to understand how to leverage funding and invest in real estate, they are thinking that they are going to get a very big reward and it's not going to be a risk. So tonight I'm going to help you and guide you and give you another side of the coin that you may not have ever heard of when it comes to obtaining six figures in funding, because most people really don't know what six figures in funding looks like. And so I'm going to share with you what it looks like, because I have helped clients to obtain this. Many of my clients have went on to invest in mobile homes and do fix and flips or buy and holds or what have you. So I really want to give you some frame of reference of what this looks like. And let me start with number one. You are investing in debt. Now, I don't know how that may make you feel, but I'm going to call a spade a spade. You are investing in debt. $100,000 in business funding is debt. Do you hear me? It is debt. Although it's very salacious now in the marketplace where people are telling you, oh, you can get X amount of dollars in business credit and you can get a American Express Platinum card or a Chase Sapphire, whatever the case whatever the case it may be, whether it's a line of credit, where it's a term loan or what have you, understand you are investing in debt. I want you to sit there for a second. Remember, there is no reward without risk. I know you may have been told on the internet that you can get this windfall of money, which of course is credit. And now you're going to flip that credit and you're going to invest in real estate. I talked about it in a few videos ago. Understand what you are taking on. You are taking on trying to leverage funding, credit, or what have you. And then you are trying to invest in real estate. Both of those are going to take some manpower from you. And what causes people to not obtain that $100,000 in funding or that six figures. I always like to say $100,000 because the individuals I work with, they have at least obtained 150K in their business. Lorelia, why do you start at 150K? Well, once again, you're trying to obtain this six figures in funding. But what you have not looked at, your business. What is your business bringing in? How much revenue is your business bringing in? If you've ever heard me talk about the business funding capital stack, I talked about that the lowest level of the business funding capital stack that I share with my clients is unsecured funding. Unsecured funding is not secured or collateralized against any property. It's not collateralized by any business. It's not collateralized against any investment portfolio. It is a lender or credit card furnisher providing you with a trade line that they deem that you are a steward to be able to manage X amount of dollars. What does that mean, Lorelia? Tell it to me in layman terms. For the business owner who has no revenue in their business, they are not even bringing in $1, but somehow they've came across some information online that they want to invest in real estate and they want to be able to leverage business funding. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, when I started talking about this topic in 2018, I never talked about it from the standpoint that business funding is your be-all, do-all. What do you mean by that? The reason why many people are unable to obtain the 100K in business funding or able to obtain investing in real estate is because they are under the assumption that there is a lender out there who is going to give them all this money without them having any type of what's the word I'm looking for? Any type of past performance to show that they were, financially worthy of receiving that money. When I started talking about this topic in 2018, I was talking from the standpoint that business credit or business funding is an alternative source. It's not your only source. It's an alternative source to be paired with something else. Because this is what I know. Real estate professionals, I'm not talking about wannabe real estate investors. The ones who got the free LLC, got the EIN, have given themselves the title of real estate investor, but have never did no deals. Those individuals are trying to get a very big reward with no risk. They don't know a deal if it came in front of them right now. They wouldn't know how to analyze it. They wouldn't know what type of funding to obtain. All they have is a desire to want to invest in real estate. By all means, it's nothing wrong with that. I talked about it in another video about that's good. Recognize where you're at. You're in the desire phase. That doesn't mean you're in the phase of execution. What execution means is that you have some experience in real estate. You have some experience with analyzing deals. And you know that at times when deals come, you need to be able to jump on a deal ASAP. And having access to money, which is funding, personal or business, will allow you to tap into to be able to do a deal. I gave you that example for myself. I talked about, once again, recognizing what we're talking about. We're talking about you wanting to leverage debt. That's right. I want you to sit in that. This is not a free-for-all pot full of money. You want to leverage debt. And I use the example that if I'm bidding on real estate mortgage notes, I told you and I shared with you my results of what I'm doing. If I'm investing in mortgage notes and I need access to capital, I don't care where it comes, whether it comes from personal or whether it comes from business, because I understand that there is no risk without reward. I want the reward of controlling a real estate asset, but I'm willing to risk leveraging credit to do it. With that understanding, I know that I have now taken on debt, but I also have invested in an asset that is cash flowing, a cash flowing asset. Now, one may say, oh, Lorelia, so you're going to use the cash flow from the asset to pay the debt? Possibly. But I also know that I have some active income that can pay that debt off. Remember, this is not a free-for-all. See, what your expert in this business space, business funding space, or real estate expert space never tells the individual how much debt they're going to incur. See, what I tell my clients that at $150K in funding, whether it's personal or business, at the end of the day, I'm big on financial stewardship. Whatever you sign your John Hancock's on that you say that you want access to, understand that you have to pay it back. But at $150K in funding, what does that mean? That means that you are liable and that you have to pay between possibly $2,000 and $2,500. Now, of course, that's just, a raw example. But normally, depending on type of funding, because remember, if your business, you don't have a track record of business, you don't have a track record of sales, you don't have a track record of income, you have to start at your lowest level of funding, which is unsecured. And unsecured is going to be credit cards, because since you have no track record, we can't start at the secured level. That would be the level that is above the unsecured level. Because remember, the business can stand alone by itself. So now let me recap. You want 6 figures in funding. You want to invest in real estate, but you don't know how to obtain it. Have you at least understood that you are taking on debt? Have you really sat in that space, taking on debt? Because this is what I know, and this is what I share with my clients. Oh, hey, I see some comments. I'm sorry. I've been so much in a zone that I'm not watching. Hey, Lorenzo Jenkins. Okay. Okay. Congratulations. Lorenzo Jenkins just said he got an express loan to do just invested in a property. So with that being said, I want a person to sit in that they're taking on debt, because I am not an advocate of, let me help you run the play to get some business credit or some business funding, run up the bag, it's going to be in your LLC, and then you don't have to pay it, and then you rinse and repeat. That brings me to my second point. For the person who is still trying to obtain that 6 figures in funding or what have you, and they haven't got it, this is going to be something that many people don't realize. If you are having problems with getting funding, or you could be that person who got some funding, but now you're in your head about, oh, it's got to be business, it's got to be, business credit, it's got to be personal credit, all these things, whatever it may be. Those things are just semantics. If you are a good financial steward over your finances and you understand that there is a risk and a reward with anything that you do, whether it's business, whether it's investing in different type of financial instruments, whether it's real estate, you know that there is a risk to whatever reward you want. And now you have to be willing to understand how much risk are you going to take on. Because many people who have not obtained what it is that they want is because they're trying to avoid, and listen clearly, they haven't become the person. See, there's a person that you have to become, because most people will tell you, oh, I want to invest in real estate because I want financial freedom, or I want to get wealthy. But what they don't understand is they became the person. Have they became the person? See, most people don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about that they have to become the person that they're trying to get to, which is why you'll have people who may have gotten that 100K in funding, may have gotten six figures, whether it's a low, a mid, or high, or what have you, and they'll just blow the bag. They'll just blow the bag. And the reason why they've blown the bag is because they themselves did not become the person who can handle six figures in funding. So now you have talking heads online or experts online trying to warn people, oh, be very careful. Don't take on no credit. Don't take on no funding and invest in real estate. You're going to get yourself, you're going to get yourself stuck behind the 8 ball. It's a recession, all these fearful things. And the reason why now people who was once telling you leverage all the credit you can get are now telling you, no, don't do it, is because what they've realized is most people have not even become the person who can manage 100K. So even if somebody ran you to play, help you rob the bank, whatever the vernacular is for you to get the 100K, told you to buy trade lines, all these tactics, you never even became the person. Your mindset, it reminds me of the Millionaire Mind, T. Harv Eker. And I remember going there about 10 years ago to the Millionaire Mind. He used to have these workshops all across the country. And I remember I went to the one in New Jersey and he talked about a money thermostat. And most people who are struggling financially or thinking that they're going to get a big reward with no risk have a very low money mindset. But here, you want to pack on six figures in funding when you got a mindset of you haven't even been able to manage $1,000. So now you've been fortunate enough to find someone online, YouTube, or what have you, and they've helped you with a rob the bank strategy. They taught you trade lines. They taught you how to falsify the information that you submit to credit card companies. They've taught you, how to I don't know, like what I said, trade lines, lie on an application, told you if you put $500 in the bank, and if you got an LLC and an EIN, you're going to get 50,000, whatever those plays is. I know at this point, I'm probably irritating a lot of people because one, most people believe that that's really how you're going to obtain something. But like I said, even if you are fortunate enough and the play did work, you're going to go right through it. You're going to go right through it. And then now your running story is going to be, Oh, it was because it was personal credit. Oh, it was because it was business credit. See, whenever I hear someone talking about that the reason why they weren't able to do what they wanted to do, invest in real estate or get the type of money that they were desiring, it was because it was on the personal side, not on the business side. I already know they got a low money mindset. Goes back to the thermostat. They have a low thermostat when it comes to obtaining money. But if for some reason they go online, they're able to run a play, do a rob the bank strategy, they get some money, they go right through it. And I've talked about this on other videos. You can have a person who has everything in line, maybe some equity in the home, great credit, has the income, still don't know how to cross over to being a real estate investor. Why? Because they have not become the person. The money is not going to make you the person. And that's the part that a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people feel like if I just get the money, then I'll invest in real estate. And understand, if that's the dogma that you subscribe to, I'm not your person, because I have been able. My first real estate deal, I didn't have no money. Now, although it was many moons ago, we're going all the way back to 2008. Yes, I'm dating myself. But I was able to understand the strategy to be able to control a piece of real estate and get paid on it and not use no cash, no credit. I was able to use my end buyers. And that was the person that I resold the real estate to. So don't sit and tell me that you need credit and you need business credit or personal credit or what have you to invest in real estate. And I know a person may be thinking, oh, well, really, isn't that what you talk about? No, because if you have been listening to me since 2018, I've been saying the same thing, that it's an alternative source. It's not the source, because most people are spending too much time looking for credit, looking for business credit, looking for business funding, and not spending time on analyzing and understanding real estate. Because I talked about this when I did my 3-week live video here on YouTube, talking about how to underwrite your real estate deal. I talked about that. I talked about how the deal comes before the funding, unless you are going FHA or traditional. That's the only time where it matters that you find. First, you get pre-qualified. They see if you are financially astute to be able to take on any type of mortgage or what have you. But when you go into the investor space, it depends on the deal. So that goes into my final reason. That's why many people have not been able to invest in real estate and leverage 6 figures in funding, because they don't understand what they're investing in. Because every real estate transaction doesn't require you needing 6 figures in funding. What's required of you is to really understand what you're investing in. Because once again, I did an example where I talked about having control, being the bank of a real estate asset, hence mortgage note, and then leveraging credit. That didn't take 6 figures. But see, many people have been told this story on a salacious level on how they need to get this 6 figures in funding. So now they've put on a pedestal, 6 figures in funding. But it goes back to the money thermostat. Individuals who have a low money thermostat, they're going to put the 6 figures in funding on a very big thermostat. It's like, oh my God, that is, that is the way. And that's only the way, or that's the way a person would perceive six figures in funding if they don't have a business bringing in anything. I mean, how wonderful and great that would be. All I ever did was get an LLC and an EIN. And the money gods are just going to just pour and shower me with all this capital in my business. But I haven't even learned how to put $1 into my business. So it's easier for me to just go around the internet and look and hope to find someone who's going to teach me, or who's going to share with me, or who's going to have some type of lender that I can do the rob the bank strategy with to be able to get six figures in funding. That's the person with a low money thermostat. The person who has a high money thermostat, they understand that getting access to funding is not difficult if I have an asset. There's a correlation, a real correlation, that individuals who own assets, it can be real estate, it can be a business, it can be an investment portfolio, you ain't gonna have no problem getting no funding, because a lender sees that there is some source of cash flow coming into your business as long as you can display that. The only people who have a problem getting funding are people who don't have funding, because they have been sold the salacious story that I can have a shell. I don't have to have nothing. And with nothing, I'm going to get a windfall of capital. And where does that happen? If it was really that easy, then why are people facing homelessness in the US? How are people having a problem to find somewhere to stay if all they needed was $125 to give to the Secretary of State? I know, depending on what state you are, every state is different with the price, but all I need is $125. And I could possibly, or I'm not even going to say possibly, I have an online expert who told me that if I just put X amount of money in the bank and just show them my LLC and my EIN paperwork, they have to give me at a minimum $10K in a line of credit. How easy that would be. See, these are the hard things that people don't want to face, which is preventing them from getting their six figures in funding and investing in real estate. One, they don't want to sit in. I'm going to recap. One, they don't want to sit in that is debt. So if you subscribe to the whole debt-free thing, why are you looking at leveraging credit? Let's call a spade a spade. You want six figures in funding, but you don't realize you take it on debt. Remember, I said, at least with my clients, I don't know what your expert told you, but at six figures, at a low six figures, between 100,000 and 150, and also depending on interest rates, you are looking to pay between $2,000 to $2,500 in a month. Imagine how that will put you behind the 8 ball if you don't have nothing coming in. You don't have no active income coming in from a job, and you definitely don't have that real estate to the point where it's going to cash flow enough to get you out of debt. See, those are the difficult things that people don't want to talk about, and which is preventing you from getting your funding. It's preventing you from investing in real estate because you have been told a very salacious lie. And even if you find a way to get the funding, because believe you me, lenders realize the whole spectrum. You take the person with the best credit and the person with the worst credit. There is a lender for you. The days are gone where credit score matters. The subprime market in the lending space is $1 billion industry. So anyone who tells me I couldn't get funding because of my credit, let me tell you, you just didn't talk to the right people. Because there's a lender who will lend to you. The terms may be predatory. The interest rate may be high. But understand, there's a lender who will lend to you. Not that I'm co-signing on, I'm not saying it's right, but understand, financial ignorance is $1 billion industry. There are lenders who banking on you to be illiterate. That is why now in the online space, we have a very salacious conversation going on that you can get 6 figures in funding, business funding or whatever, and become a real estate millionaire. And that only appeals, no disrespect, to people who have a low money mindset. Because this is what I challenge people to do. Spend more time understanding deals. For the next 90 days, as we go into a new year, if you said 2023, remember I started off saying, if you said 2023 was your year, but you still haven't been able to do what you want when it comes to leveraging funding in real estate, well, this is what I'm gonna challenge you for. Get some momentum and start looking at deals for the next 90 days. Look at nothing but real estate deals. Find one thing that you want to invest in, whatever it may be, multifamilies, fix and flips, buy and holds, Airbnbs, whatever. You stick with that one thing. If you can concentrate on sticking to that one thing for 90 days, which was going to give you some momentum, because we in September, so by November, it's 90 days. You can literally start to go into the new year, because the next month will be December, having a laid out, mapped plan on what's your next move. And it ain't going to be looking for funding. Because if you can understand the deal, understand how the deal can make you money or how the deal can make someone else's money, and you can communicate that fluently, money and credit will be your oyster. I've said this before. But the problem is that people are chasing their tails, looking for funding, and they're empty. They have nothing of substance. So when people come to me and they say, I'm looking for money, that is an empty statement, because money or funding is a byproduct of something. It's a byproduct of something, meaning the something has to be a business that's generating revenue. A piece of real estate that is an asset. That is where funding comes from. It doesn't come from no substance. That's when you get tied into, I want a big reward, but I don't want no risk. And so many people are in the space, in the headspace of, I'm just looking for some funding, I'm looking for some funding, and have not exercised the muscle of analyzing deals. But what I will say is, I'm going to challenge you, if you want to learn more about how you can get help with, in the same silo, finding deals and simultaneously looking for funding. I'm not talking about you get funding and I'm talking about together. The next 90 days, that is what I'm going to be focusing on, helping individuals do. Because I tell people all the time, funding is easy to get. You don't need me, you don't need no one else to help you get funding. Go right on the internet, put it in a search, real estate funding, and there, boom, you can get some funding. But the problem is that people can't communicate funding, or they can't bridge the two together with real estate, because that's what they're missing. They don't understand what they don't understand. But this is Lorelia. To learn more about me, I hope this has been helpful. Thank you for those who did make some comments. I know this is hard to look at the chat and be able to do this video. But once again, I hope the information I shared has been helpful. If you want to learn more about me, you can go to www.neverloseadeal.com. And once again, I'm looking forward to talking to you. Please, under this video, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And if you're listening to the podcast, we're on all the streaming applications, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music. Please leave me a comment. Please rate me, let me know what you think. And I look forward to talking to you in the next video. Okay, bye-bye.